I think everybody underestimates how wonderful we actually have it today. I was thinking about this as I'm sitting in my car with a digital clock. When I was growing up, we had analog clocks. There was no digital clocks. I'm 40, 45 now, crazy enough. I had my birthday recently. And we grew up with analog clocks, so the normal clocks that are on the wall. And I do remember when I saw my first digital clock. I remember that as a kid with this sort of green backlit screen, the LCD screen, and sort of thinking, hey, that's pretty cool. But it was always analog clocks, right? And what you don't realize with these analog clocks, particularly the ones that we had back then, is that, even if they were battery powered, they're, you know, old battery technology way back when, is that they would lose you wouldn't be able to tell time very well because the minutes would change very quickly over time, that they would lose their charge or the clock just would not tell time very good. And so you would be within 10 minutes of wherever you're looking at in terms of accuracy, in terms of how you're thinking about it. I drive around in a car. Mind you, we've worked very hard to get here. I did not come from very much. Um, you know, my parents lived in a garage for many years, and we had a big family. I understand everything that I mean to be. I understand the experience a lot of people go through. But now I'm in a car that has a digital clock, and this digital clock is synced up to satellite system. And so my clock is identical no matter where I am, and it doesn't change at any time. And so I have complete accuracy with my time, how I handle myself, a lot of different things. Now, this is true with all of us with cell phones, right? Is that the clocks that we have are all synced up and they're highly coordinated. Now, you might think of this as like, yeah, it's a burden because now you're trapped by time, and there's lots of people that think like that, and I think like that many times too, right? That yes, wouldn't it be nice to go back to where we didn't have such a constraint with time or closely tied with time? And it is a bother. It's very annoying, but at the same time, no pun intended, it's a pretty glorious thing that we're able to do this. And the amount of technology that has gone in to create the amount of money expenditure that has gone in to create these clocks that are highly synchronized amongst everybody. First of all, you have to define what a clock is, right? Like that is a relatively new technology that's only been around for, 500 years, right? You might not think that's very recent, but that's pretty recent, right? Before we were going by the sun, right? And what was going on with the sun. Now we have digital. Now we had a clock system that was based on gears and pulleys and stuff like that were in the town square. Now we've moved towards this very complicated. And by the way, doing that required a lot of engineering work. That was hard to do. And even the battery technology that goes behind just even your analog clock that you have today, there's a huge amount of expenditure in battery technology and how to handle that, right? Just because it looks like a Duracell battery in front of you doesn't mean that is not a complicated sort of set of systems that happened with complicated understanding of chemistry that requires a great deal of work and effort and expenditures. And then even that analog clock or the digital clock with the screen in front of you, there was a massive investment that went in creating the LCD screens in front of you. In fact, it's sort of a quintessential example of how complicated things are, because it started out as a sort of green screen LCD that I remember, but and that's all we had. And now we have these beautiful LCD screens that are very, very cheap and inexpensive that light up, and they have all sorts of different colors, and the vividness is just truly amazing. Right? And I want you to sort of appreciate and think about the complexity of all of this that goes on to just having an accurate time, but not only an accurate time for yourself, but an accurate time for many people. This, despite the fact that you don't appreciate it on a regular day, is a modern day miracle to have that. And the more I